She was leading the charge in this insane insurance scam by reversing into the victim in the wrong direction on the freeway. She and her partner were able to steal houses from the elderly for only a total cost of 70 cents and filing some simple paperwork. And finally, she was able to steal $22 million of investor money. Let's dive right into the worst female criminals around, starting with number 6, reversing the story. Ashpia Natasha was driving along the Belt Parkway, a major highway that runs through New York City, when a silver Honda Civic suddenly merged in front of her, slammed the brakes, and then, out of nowhere, reversed straight into her car. She was understandably shocked and tried to make sense of what just happened. But the people in the car that hit her only made the situation more confusing. After the impact, 4 individuals got out of the Honda, clutching their heads and moving as though they had been injured. However, everything changed once one of them noticed her dash cam recording. According to Natasha, as soon as they saw the camera, their expressions shifted and their exaggerated behavior toned down. It was almost as if they had been caught mid-act. They quickly asked for her insurance information, exchanged registration details, and then tried to make a quick exit, saying they had to pick up a baby, leaving their car behind because, that's what normal accident victims do. Fortunately, Natasha's dash cam footage told the whole story. The video revealed suspicious behavior even before the accident. The Honda's abrupt merging and sudden stop felt more like a setup than a regular accident. Natasha, a home health attendant, realized this might have been a staged crash meant to cash in on insurance money. When she later reviewed the footage, she saw how one of the passengers even used a tarp to cover the back window, which allowed the driver and a passenger to switch seats without being seen. When she called the police to report what happened, she was told they wouldn't respond to the scene since there were no serious injuries, leaving her to handle the aftermath on her own. But Natasha was prepared to fight back with her dash cam evidence, proving she wasn't responsible for the crash. While the suspects left their mildly damaged vehicle behind, as of the release of this video, police are still working on locating them. Natasha's case is a reminder that if you haven't bought a dash cam yet, you probably should, since scams like this are incredibly popular. Who knows what kind of mess she'd be in if she didn't have one. Number 5. Quitclaims. Michelle Cherry, 33, and her husband, 50-year-old Victor Rodriguez, earned themselves some serious accusations involving a fraudulent scheme that had enabled them to take control of multiple homes in Florida. Their alleged operation centered around a legal loophole involving quitclaim deeds, which they supposedly used to forge ownership on properties, including one belonging to Rodriguez's former father-in-law. The forged documents legally transferred ownership of the homes for just a few dollars, leaving the legitimate property owners scrambling to reclaim their homes. A quitclaim deed is a simple, fast way to transfer property ownership, often used between family members or in cases of trust. Unlike other property transfers, a quitclaim deed doesn't guarantee the title is clear of liens or that there aren't other claims on the property. It only transfers whatever ownership or interest the seller has, if any. This makes quitclaim deeds riskier since they provide no protections if issues arise with the property's title. You can also see where this could be problematic. According to court records, Michelle and Victor allegedly visited the Hillsborough County Clerk's office with forged documents claiming ownership of homes they didn't own. Thankfully, they were eventually caught through the county's property fraud alert system. The couple was arrested when they filed a forged quitclaim deed on Larry and Dreama Bilby's property. Since the Bilbys were signed up for the county's free property fraud alert service, they received a notification about an unauthorized change to their deed. They promptly reported this to authorities, triggering an investigation. For the Bilbys, who were renovating their unoccupied home, discovering their property had been transferred without their consent was a shock. The incident led to an expensive, lengthy legal battle as they fought to reclaim ownership of their home. The ease with which Rodriguez and Cherry reportedly executed these deeds has sparked a strong push among officials for tighter regulations on property transfers. Some county clerks have called attention to the simplicity of filing a quitclaim deed, emphasizing the urgent need for reform. Prosecutors suspect the couple had more plans in mind, possibly to seek loans or even sell the properties to unsuspecting buyers. Both Rodriguez and Cherry were arrested and charged with fraud, both facing some serious potential penalties, and have both pleaded not guilty, and as of the release of this video, are awaiting trial. We know this sort of thing is happening more and more often these days, but it always blows our minds that people are literally having their houses stolen from them. Like, that shouldn't even be possible, right? It's a house. This story is a good reminder to check and see if property fraud alert systems are available in your area, and if they are, sign up for it. Number 4, foreclosure error. Dr. Craig Adams, a dentist from Raleigh, North Carolina, found himself in an unexpected legal nightmare when he learned that a stranger had claimed ownership of his multi-million-dollar home. The incident began after Adams listed his 8,300 square foot mansion for sale. Shortly afterward, he was notified that the deed to his home was transferred to someone named Don Magnum, who had filed paperwork with the Wake County Register of Deeds, effectively claiming the property as her own. Adams' situation was further complicated when Mangum contacted his homeowners association asking for gate access to the exclusive community. This unusual request raised red flags, and as Adams dug deeper, he discovered the paperwork listed his home under the Don Mangum Trust. Even more surprising, the deed was approved without anyone verifying her ownership. The situation exploited a loophole in North Carolina law where county registers process hundreds of documents daily, often without verifying their legitimacy. Adams immediately reached out to county officials, providing mortgage and tax records to prove his ownership. However, he was informed that to reclaim his home, he would have to hire a private attorney and pursue a civil court case, which could cost him around $8,000. Meanwhile, Mangum claimed that she believed the property was abandoned or in foreclosure and thought she was within her rights to claim it, since apparently a listing error had temporarily marked Dr. Adams' home as a foreclosure, even though it wasn't. She even offered to amend the paperwork, though Adams' legal battle seemed far from over. Mangum later faced charges for filing a fraudulent deed, though the county's Register of Deeds still required Adams to take additional legal action to remove her name from the deed, which is kind of absurd. As of the release of this video, Mangum has been arrested and charged with attempting to obtain property by false pretense. During her initial court appearance, conducted via video conference from jail, the judge set her bond at $150,000, citing the value of the home and the nature of the alleged crime. So what do you think? Mangum claimed she thought the home was abandoned or in foreclosure, believing that allowed her to claim it. The foreclosure listing error could support her story, and her later offer to amend the deed suggests she may not have acted with intent. On the other hand, her immediate request for gated access, listing herself under a trust, and not verifying the foreclosure status before filing makes it seem like her actions intentionally created costly barriers for Adams to reclaim his property. She may have anticipated these challenges in an attempt to move in and knew what she was doing. Tell us your opinion in the comments below. Number 3. Hidden identity. Philadelphia resident Holly Sadowski, 37, is facing federal charges after allegedly stealing Social Security benefits from a woman who authorities say was later found beneath a concrete slab in a Philadelphia basement. Sadowski was accused of accessing and draining the woman's Social Security funds, allegedly pocketing nearly $100,000 over several years. According to investigators, the unnamed victim hadn't been seen since 2012, though she had been receiving disability insurance benefits due to an intellectual disorder for many years. Her remains were eventually discovered after an anonymous tip led Philadelphia police to search an abandoned house, where they found her encased in cement about 6 to 8 feet deep in the basement. Authorities believe her remains may have been there for nearly a decade. DNA analysis later confirmed the identity of the remains, but there had never been a missing report filed for the woman. So obviously, there's some questions left that are going to need to be answered. Federal authorities claim Sadowski continued to use the victim's social security details to funnel the benefits into her own account, allegedly indulging in a range of expenses. As of the release of this video, Sadowski is facing charges including social security fraud, wire fraud, and identity theft, though none related to the passing of the victim. If convicted, she could face a maximum sentence of up to 107 years, leaving many questions about the circumstances of the woman's tragic end and Sadowski's involvement. Hiding the body under a concrete slab in an abandoned house. That sounds like some Edgar Allan Poe type stuff, doesn't it? If Sadowski had any involvement in the woman's passing, it has to make you wonder how she even slept at night. Number 2. Hidden Identity 2. Wendy Stone from Rochester, New York, in a similar case as the last story, also got some serious charges after allegedly concealing her boyfriend's remains in her basement and using his social security benefits for months. Alongside her son Cody James Stone, Wendy is accused of hiding Kenneth Crisman's body after he reportedly passed away from an overdose. Authorities say she moved his remains into a recycling bin, wrapped it in plastic, and occasionally poured bleach on it to mask any odor. Stone was caught after authorities conducted a welfare check at her home, eventually discovering Kenneth Crisman's body in the basement. The investigation revealed inconsistencies when Social Security payments continued, even though Crisman had passed away. This led to federal authorities digging deeper into his financial records, noticing that his benefits were still being used. After tracking transactions linked to Crisman's debit card, surveillance footage showed Wendy and her son Cody making purchases and ATM withdrawals. These findings, combined with the discovery of the body and evidence of attempts to conceal it with bleach, were enough for authorities to charge Wendy and Cody Stone with multiple offenses, including unlawful concealment and theft. Reports suggest Wendy activated his debit card, used it for shopping sprees at major retailers such as Walmart, and even splurging at local restaurants. Altogether, she allegedly spent over $7,900, funding a lifestyle that included trips to popular chain stores, ATM withdrawals, and even opening a Rent-A-Center account. Of course, federal charges soon followed the arrest. Wendy now faces allegations of theft, identity fraud, and making false statements to secure Social Security benefits that were supposed to end with Crisman's passing. Her son Cody is also implicated, accused of helping move the body and assisting his mother with various transactions. If convicted, Wendy Stone faces up to 10 years in prison, along with significant fines. That smell must have been horrific, though. If you've ever smelled the smell of something decaying, it's the type of thing that doesn't ever leave you. Just ask any cop. And it's definitely not the type of thing that would ever be masked by bleach. Living in that house must have been a punishment all on its own, since that smell, mixed with all the bleach they were using, probably permeated every inch of the place. There's just no way $7,900 would have been worth it. Number 1. Fleecing investors. Valeria Fedyakina, a Russian influencer who calls herself the Queen of Crypto, gained notoriety not only for her social media presence, but also for her alleged involvement in a multi-million-dollar scheme. Authorities claimed she scammed investors out of over $22 million, promising high returns through crypto investments. The glamorous 24-year-old, who went by Bit Mama online, used her alleged crypto experience to gain her followers' trust, drawing attention with claims of high-end offices across Moscow City, Dubai, Monaco, Serbia, and Turkey, which of course she didn't. To lure investors, Fedyakina had assured clients they could sidestep banking restrictions by transferring funds to Dubai-based accounts, the restrictions likely due to international sanctions imposed on Russia following its actions in Ukraine. She even dangled an enticing offer to draw in more victims, a 1% bonus once their money was converted to crypto. However, her investors, primarily Russian businessmen, watched as their funds disappeared, allegedly redirected to support Ukrainian troops amid the ongoing conflict with Russia. Fedyakina's supposed expertise and lifestyle were all part of a carefully crafted image that appeared trustworthy until it wasn't. The scale of Fedyakina's scheme shocked her victims, with one claiming a personal loss of $70 million. She managed to accumulate her $22 million haul within just 2 months. Then, just as Russian authorities closed in on the investigation, Fedyakina attempted to leave the country, only to be arrested before boarding a flight to the UAE. Despite being 6 months pregnant, her request for house arrest was denied, and she was detained after giving birth in a specialized maternity facility. Fedyakina's legal team disputed the charges, arguing that she was the victim of a conspiracy, insisting she used her own funds to cover supposed debts to her clients. Her defense went further, claiming she remained supportive of Russia's actions in Ukraine and even intended to contribute financially to the Russian military. Still, her image as an expert in the already shady crypto world was thoroughly shaken, leaving her facing potential charges and up to a decade in prison. And if she was actually funneling money to the Ukraine while living in a place such as Russia, then she's either very brave or very stupid, since Russian courts don't exactly have a reputation for having fair trials. Valeria Fedyakina's story ultimately leaves her followers questioning her motives, whether she gets viewed as a misunderstood investor who supports her country, or as an orchestrator of fraud who actively goes against it. Her case is a warning to those who trust their investments to social media personalities rather than legitimate financial institutions. Remember, don't take financial advice from social media influencers. Click to watch one of these next videos.